Nikki, a very good morning to you.
Good morning, Kerry. How are you?
Good, thanks.
Cool. Hey, I just wanted to ask a question regarding the Foodstuffs merger between the North Island and South Island and where that's at the moment.
I thought that had been denied, hadn't it, as because of unfair competition, is that right?
Yeah, so look, thanks, Nikki, and a great question and a massive part of an incredible bunch of hardworking people at Foodstuffs for the last year. So on the 1st of October, we got the final decision from the Commerce Commission, which was to decline our merger clearance application. About 3 or 4 weeks later, we got a document setting out their reasons for that, and our advisors and us have been going through that document with a fine-tooth comb to understand it and consider it and make our minds up about what we do from here.
Was it the lack of competition they were most concerned about? So
the biggest concern in the document seems to be about whether suppliers would be worse off as a result of a cooperative merging between the North Island and South Island where we have no competition between each other. Obviously we very carefully considered this right at the beginning. There is a legal test that is applied about the substantial lessening of competition. All of our advisors plus our internal teams have the view that we passed that legal test and that the proposition we put up should have been cleared. Today we're announcing it's started in the last hour or so that we are going to appeal this decision. So that basically means we now notify that we're going to appeal. We have to file by about the 21st of this month, so it's only a couple of days away.
Yeah.
And we'll wait for the High Court to give us a hearing date and work through that process.
And how will you appeal? How do you believe that you'll get them to change their minds?
So essentially, appeal takes the year's worth of work that's been done between Foodstuffs and the Commission and puts it in front of the court, and the court go back through the process and determine whether the decision was appropriate or not. The basic, if you stand back, these are two regional cooperatives, one in the North Island, one in the South Island. As New Zealand's unique with its split and Cook Strait. We don't compete with each other in any way in a retail market, and we don't compete to buy groceries off suppliers. We buy them for the North Island, the South Island buy them for the South Island. We would be able to be an incredibly more efficient, lower-cost New Zealand organisation by being one. There is really no other New Zealand business that's forced to stay regional like this.
But what would that do to suppliers then? You could screw them down.
It would give suppliers 2 or 3 things, and I talked to a lot. A couple of days after the decline, I had 600 of them on a call that we briefed them on. Last week I was in Wellington presenting live to 200 or so suppliers. So we get a lot of conversation with them. Almost every day I'm meeting with one or other. And the advantages for suppliers would be dealing with one, not two. The fact that because Foodstuffs is a cooperative of locally owned stores, they could still win ranging in a single store in one of our banners, say Foursquare only or New World only, in a region, an island, or now the possibility would be you could do a deal to be nationally ranged. So we see a number of advantages for suppliers. Yes, we're always going to try and buy the best we can because customers hold us accountable for that. They expect us to be buying well. And just to give a profile, the supplier market in New Zealand, about 80% of our products come from 20 of the world's largest suppliers.
Wow.
So it's not quite maybe the scene people think. And we're incredibly proud of, over the years, the hundreds of local New Zealand suppliers we've worked with to make them bigger and better.
Yeah, because that's the thing. I don't mind, I guess, if I have to choose paying 50 cents more for a local grower or supplier who's working their patooties off in New Zealand conditions to make a living. And they only really make their killing when they sell the farm or the orchard or the business, the manufacturing plant. So they're jolly hard workers employing New Zealanders. So I'm happy to pay a little bit over the odds, even when things are tight. I just don't want it to go to you.
Yeah, and
you know what I mean? I mean, I'm already paying you. I'm coming to see you every week. You have my business.
Yep.
I just want the suppliers to be paid fairly.
Yeah, and so do we in terms of our firstly jolly hardworking New Zealanders. That's our stores as well. Each one owned by a family across the North Island, employing 24,000 New Zealanders. And we're proud of that, and we think that's a really important part.
And I love the way you build up people within the business. You can start off as a trolley boy and end up as a supermarket store owner.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, well,
really
I
love that. I love that.
I never worked out in time that ownership was a great career, but my first sort of proper job was my uncle and aunt's New Walton Walkworth. I was the truck driver and then the shelf stacker for drinks. Yeah. So funny how life turns out.
Yeah.
But New Zealand suppliers, we have this amazing Emerge program where we tour around all the regions and say, this is how you engage with us. This is how to get inside what you perceive as a big organisation and do well. We've just done our awards where Sarah and Otis Frizzell and their Lucky Taco, we are going to be ranging all of their retail products in all of our New Worlds because they were the standout, startup player that we picked. An amazing oats maker, sort of morning oats guy who lives on Waiheke Dane, who's, we're listing his product, Fuller Oats. Those stories are the ones that I think, need to balance out a little bit of the view that's been expressed. There is a lot of that going on.